One of the memorial complexes which was founded in the 15th century is Khoja Valiy Shrine, located in Samarkand district. The complex consists of madrasa, mosque and minaret, all built in different periods of time. This mosque has a smooth rectangular shape with wooden columns and beams. The pond in front of the tower, which is surrounded by sycamore trees, harmoniously match with the landscape. His Excellency Khoja Ahrori, who was a leading representative of the Naqshbandiya order, earned his rightful place among great mystics of the Muslim world. A real name of the saint is Ubaidullah, and Ahrori is a nickname that means noble. It is narrated in the history of the Muslim world that out of 356 saints, only 3, including Khoja Ahrori, were recognized as the great ones who reached a high level. His Holiness Khoja Ahrori Ubaidullah Valiy had a number of mosques and madrasas built during his time. Some of them, located in Tashkent, Herat and Samarkand, were called Madrasa-i Safir. Later, Nadir Devonbegi Madrasa was constructed in honor to him. It is where we are standing now. The madrasa was built between 1630 to 1631 with fundings of Nadir Devonbegi from the Ashtarkhanids, and that's why it was named after him. The square courtyard of the madrasa is surrounded by residential religious rooms. If we look closely at the madrasa of Nadir Devonbegi, there are verses of Allah about the saints written on the facade facing the grave of His Holiness Khoja Ahrori Ubaidullah. The verses tell that, beware that there are indeed friends of Allah who have been delivered the news of the Judgment Day. In fact, one more thing to note is that the grave of His Holiness Khoja Ahrori Ubaidullah is placed a bit lower. The reason is that, according to scholars, it was intentionally done to express respect, so that one wouldn't rise above the graves of His Holiness. Here is how it is built. His full name was Nasiruddin Khoja Ubaidullah Ahrori ibn Mahmud ibn Shahabuddin Shashi Samarkandi, and he was a well-known person in his time throughout Mavrunahar and Khorasan. Although he was a rich man with lands and property, he spent all his life and wealth to make peace and prosperity in the country. Thus, he took a leading position in the domestic and foreign political life of the country. Patriot, religious and political figure, Khoja Ahrori Valiy was born in 1404 in ancient Shash, in the village of Bagistan in Tashkent, and died in 1490 in Samarkand. Khoja Ubaidullah Ahrori Valiy is considered a descendant of the famous mystic Sheikh Umar Wali Bagistani. That's a great-granddaughter of Sheikh Umar Valiy Pakistani, who made birth to Khoja Ubaidullah Ahror Valiy. When a newborn baby, wrapped in a cloth, was brought to his grandparents, His Excellency Shahabuddin took a look at the baby Ubaidullah and said, "This child will develop Shariat and Tariqat in the future, and he will do many good deeds. Kings and sultans will follow his advice, and all of those righteous deeds performed by him will be important actions of generosity." Khoja Ubaidullah spent his childhood in Tashkent. He studied at school and read various books. He used to visit shrines of the great scholars who lived in Tashkent, such as Abu Bakr Qaffal Shashi, Sheikh Hovandi Tahur, and Sheikh Zainuddin Khoja, and was interested in their lives and activities. As a young boy, he used to often make pilgrimages to the graves of scholars and saints. One day, during one of such visits to the grave of Imam Abu Bakr Qaffal Shashi, he fell asleep reciting the Quran verses and saw Jesus in his dream. The Prophet Jesus says that you shouldn't worry too much. We have taken care of you. After that, Khoja Ubaidullah Ahror Valiy began to show great qualities such as reviving dead souls, finding a way to one's heart, sharing kindness and generosity. We can find valuable information in the book titled Silsilatun Arifin Tazkiratun Siddiqin by Khoja Ubaidullah Ahror Valiy's student Muhammad Khoja Andijani. At the age of 23 to 24, his uncle, Khoja Ibrahim, one of the wittiest men of his time, sent him to study in Samarkand and later in Herat. After taking lessons from famous mystics such as Sheikh Bahauddin Umar, Sheikh Zainuddin Hawafi, he studies the Naqshbandiya order from Yaqub Charkha, who was a disciple of Khoja Bahauddin Naqshband. His Holiness Khoja Ahror Ubaidullah Valiy is considered one of the leading followers of the Naqshbandiya order. That's Bahauddin Naqshbandi produces a student, Alauddin Attar. Alauddin Attar in turn passes his teachings to Yaqub Charkhi. Later, Yaqub Charkhi directly entrusted the knowledge to His Holiness Khoja Ahror Ubaidullah. Khoja Ahror returns to Tashkent between 1431 and 1432, thus becomes famous follower of the teachings of the Bahauddin Naqshband, a great figure of the Naqshbandi order, and gets engaged in farming and commercial activities. Historical sources contain very important information about Khoja Ahror. For example, in the book by Fakhruddin Ali al-Safi titled Rashahat Ayn al-Hayat, Drops from the Springs of Life, it is written that genealogy of Khoja Ahror goes back to Abu Bakr Siddiq on the father's side and Umar ibn Khattab on the mother's side. In the work Silsilatul Arifin by Mawlana Muhammad Qaza, it is written that the lineage of Hazrat Khoja Ahror Sheikh Hovandi Tahur and Sheikh Umar Bagistani, whose grave is located in the village of Bostanliq in Bostanliq district of Tashkent region, is traced back to another sect leader. His Holiness Khoja Ahror Ubaidullah Valiy was a selfless person who carried out the nation not only in a religious field, but also in politics and governance in his time. He wasn't only a religious scholar, but also a great statesman who, by receiving valuable information, established contacts to peacefully end wars. After the Timurid prince Abu Said Mirza invaded Samarkand in a battle with Mirza Abdullah, he ordered to bring Khoja Ahror from Tashkent to Samarkand. Thus, from 1451, Khoja Ahror settled in Samarkand. When he arrived in Samarkand, the ruler issues a special order on collecting a tax of 1/10 from the lands, properties, fields and gardens belonging to Ahror Valiy. After that, most farmers registered the ownership of their lands to Khoja Ubaidullah, but continued to do farming there. Khoja Ubaidullah Ahror Valiy selflessly returned the huge funds to people and made bridges, ditches, mosques, madrasas and houses built in that place. There is even such historical information in the book Zafarnama by Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur, when Umar Sheikh Mirza demanded taxes from the people of Tashkent. Khoja Ubaidullah Ahror covered 1-year taxes plus 250,000 dinars that taxpayers of Tashkent owed, and added 70,000 dinars on top of that. After that, Khoja Ubaidullah Ahror Valiy has achieved a high status among the people and was called Khoja Ahror. The great thinker of his time, as well as sensitive poets such as Abdurrahman Jami and Alisher Navoiy, as well as the king and poet Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur, respected Khoja Ahror as the saint. That's how Alisher Navoiy describes him. There is a distinguished one among scholars who can be a role model to others. He gives such a beautiful description. Alisher Navoiy recognized Khoja Ahror as Qutb Tariqat, while Abdurrahman Jami mentioned him as Kabai Maqsood, and Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur as Hazrat Khoja Ubaidullah. During his time, when His Holiness Alisher Navoiy was fed up with intrigues and incitements in the palace and was about to leave the service, a letter came from Khoja Ubaidullah Ahror. It said, "As far as we know, you have been a little worried, but don't interrupt your service in the palace for the sake of Muslims, because helping ordinary people, meeting their needs and cheering them up is the most auspicious and meritorious work." After that, His Holiness Alisher Navoiy continued his service in that palace. It can be seen that the letter written by Khoja Ubaidullah Ahror Valiy haven't lost its relevance even in the present time. Khoja Ahror's works such as Risale-i Walidiyya, Treatise of Parents, Risale-i Hawariyya, Treatise of the Greats, Faqirat ul-Afarin, Poverty of the Wise, are widely known and famous. Khoja Ahror lived a long and blessed life. Khoja Ubaidullah Ahror Valiy showed in practice a pure wisdom of the slogan by Bahaud Naqshband, Dil Bayaru Das Bakar. That's let your heart be with God and your hand in the work. He devoted not only his wealth but also life for the development of the tariqat. According to the book Rashahat, on the day of his death, on February 20, 1490, a strong earthquake occurred in Samarkand, and dust rose from the ground. As it was said by the saint himself, the one who revives the souls that have died due to self-indulgence, Waliullah Khoja Ahror Abdurrahman Jami, living in pursuit of divine wisdom and truth, set a goal to reverse the situation where people lose spiritual perfection while racing after wealth, possessions, greed, and status, to keep the supreme truth in their hearts, to get rid of unfavorable thoughts, and to turn the country into a place of noble intentions and to awaken humanity. Pilgrims as well as tourists come and visit this place all year round. A person is always eager to visit memorials of such role models and learn about the spiritual heritage left by them in order to acquire humanitarian qualities. That's why we remind that people only benefit from visiting these shrines. We came to visit Samarkand with a group of pilgrims from Tashkent. We have been to many places together. We are proud to have such dear saints among us. With God's willing, we'd like to see such great people come to life in the future. We came to see Uzbekistan. We are now in Samarkand. Today we are going to Tashkent. We love this art and culture. Your country is beautiful. We are all amazed. Such beautiful buildings, such perfect decorations. We're great, we're happy. Maybe we'll return again. But of course, we'll try to recommend it in our country. When you visit this memorial complex, you will feel the wisdom of Ubaidullah Ahror, which has been echoed for centuries. A flowing river keeps flowing. Light is always victorious over darkness. You will turn towards spiritual purification through the truth, which will cause changes in your soul. The teachings of the great saint, left to the generations, will come alive in your ears again and again. It's not envy or greed to tell you to abstain from worldly goods. Instead, I want you not to be deprived of spirituality, the happiness of the hereafter, and the beauty of the God by being preoccupied with this world.